Welcome to the Zero Employee Company, based on the book by Giovanni Brees. This is the last episode in the memory series, and it brings everything into the one system Giovanni actually opens every morning. He calls it the second brain. He means something pretty different from the usual version. Usually, a second brain is a notes app, a knowledge base, or a folder full of bookmarks nobody opens again. Giovanni's system works differently. A notes app waits for you to search it. You have to remember that you wrote something down, remember where you put it, find it, then read it. Retrieval is still your job. What Giovanni built queries itself for him. It brings up what matters before he thinks to ask. It stores information, processes it, flags anything that needs attention, then gives structured knowledge to the agents that use it. So this isn't a filing cabinet. It's an operational intelligence layer. That's the whole point. There's a big difference between a record you consult and a system that makes you smarter on a schedule. In practical terms, it's one web app running locally on the same machine as the agents. There's no cloud or subscription, and no data leaves the building. When Giovanni opens it, he gets one screen. The first thing he sees is a daily brief. It was built overnight from the agent's logs along with the metrics, blockers, wins, and anything waiting on him. He didn't write it. The system wrote it from whatever happened while he slept. That same screen shows the live pipeline. He can see content staged for approval, the agent org chart, and the procedures for each recurring process. There's also one search box that reaches across everything the operation has ever captured. Keeping it all on one screen isn't decoration. It's a design decision. Every context switch takes a small bite out of your attention, and if a founder does that 100 times a day, a real part of his mind has gone into finding things instead of doing the work. Okay, so there are 3 specific machines inside the system. These are the parts worth copying. First is zero friction capture. The most underrated part of any second brain is probably the first 10 seconds after an idea appears. That's when most ideas die. The distance between having an idea and writing it up properly is only a few minutes, but that little bit of friction kills most of them. So Giovanni uses one command. It sends the idea straight into the pipeline with a title, the problem it solves, and where it came from. The hard rule is the same one used across the whole memory system. Capture happens now, not later. If it isn't in the system, it didn't happen. The pipeline also feeds itself. A background research job scans places where people complain honestly. It looks for threads that begin with, "I wish someone would build," and drops draft ideas into the pipeline with the source attached. Second is honest validation through 3 gates. Capturing ideas is easy. Being honest about whether they're any good is the hard part. Every idea has to pass 3 gates before it gets anywhere near development. Gate 1 is signal. Is there real acute pain for a specific group? The evidence has to be people actively complaining about that exact problem, rather than something vaguely related. Gate 2 is the gap. Why doesn't a good solution already exist? The answer has to fit into one specific sentence. Maybe there's a price gap or a complexity gap. It could also be an audience gap. Gate 3 is the path to first revenue. Who pays first and exactly how does Giovanni reach them? The answer needs an exact channel and angle. Social media isn't an answer. If an idea can't name its first 100 users in concrete terms, it doesn't move forward. And when the research runs, the agent isn't told to validate the idea. It's told to find evidence for and against it with equal weight. It also has to actively look for counter-evidence, because confirmation bias is how founders talk themselves into building things they already wanted to build. Third is the self-improvement loop, which connects directly to the mistakes log. The mistakes log is reactive. It fixes things after they go wrong. This loop is proactive, and it comes from the way machine learning researchers actually improve a system. Karpathy describes the pattern. Make a change, run a fixed-length experiment, and measure whether the metric moved. If the change won, keep it. If it lost, revert it. then repeat with no human in the loop. Giovanni runs exactly that process against agent behavior. The system first measures a baseline for an agent, such as the reply rate for outreach or an engagement score for content. Then it applies one specific testable change. For example, the agent might open a cold message with a real observation instead of a generic line. The system waits, measures again, then keeps or reverts the change based on what the number actually did. After enough cycles, the agent converges on what works rather than what seemed like it should work. This happens on a schedule without Giovanni ever having to ask the agent to improve. Underneath all of this is one idea. Decisions made without context are worse than decisions made with it, and good context doesn't appear by itself. Most founders keep their context in their heads. That knowledge degrades, it doesn't transfer, and nothing else can query it. The second brain is the infrastructure that makes context durable and retrievable. It can also be shared with the agents that act on it. A note written today can become the context behind a decision next month. An idea rejected with a reason can become the pattern that saves 6 weeks next year. And the tools aren't where the value lives. The value comes from the discipline of writing things down, organizing them properly, and making them easy to find at the exact moment they're needed. That's what Giovanni means by a second brain. It's an operational intelligence layer that makes one person consistently smarter over time. For a company of one, that's the only durable edge there is. That closes the memory series. Giovanni Brees wrote the whole system down, with the templates, in his book, The Zero Employee Company. Link in the show notes. See you in the next one.